would say that Canmasdeu is like a tryout. Tryout for some people to live outside the system and to, like, we are a bit outside of the city, so we can see the city and how it's working, and for most of people here that we are unhappy living there. And so it's a tryout to think about how is functioning the system and to find an alternative way of life.
Soy de Granada, Casina, nació en La Chana. En Barcelona, Pampa, hoy es hambre pa' mañana. No vea qué ganas tengo de ver, volver a ver el atardecer bajo el sol que me vio nacer. Atrás del que desojo un alma partida. ¿Dónde estaba Dios cuando la vida te castiga? Digan lo que digan, no es cuestión de suerte. El niño fue creciendo y en la calle se hizo fuerte. No tuve caprichos, lo que tuve lo sudé. Si no tenía juguetes por la noche lo soñé. También pensé en robar, tener más que los demás. Construyendo puentes entre el bien y el mal pude cruzar y me gustó. No me costó volver, otros que atrás quedaron no les volveré a ver. No le eché bronca a mujer, que en la vida no hay nada como la pena de vivir lejos de Granada. Aguas pasadas, tierras soñadas, aventuras de familias separadas. Dueños de nada que nadan en tierra extraña.
Mario, I'm coming from France. I was living in Holland before, and I'm living here for 1 year and a half, more or less here.
My name's Luke, and I come from England. Although I came here from Holland because before I was living and squatting in Holland and working on environmental and anti-globalization issues there.
And so you can come by the metro, 15 minutes from the center, and after 10-15 minutes walking in the mountain. So that's what we call a Rurban place.
I think most people that live here are involved in more than one area of the house and more than one area of the project, really. And we work in quite an open process, so more or less you can pick and choose which ones you want to be involved in. Although at the same time we try to pay attention that if people have very specific skills, that they're being passed on to other people, so that you're not always, for example, I do a lot of work on the water system, but like it's not my ultimate responsibility to fix the water system. Better that we try to like pass the information to other people, and if we need to do renovation work, then not always, but often we try to run it as a kind of workshop.
We try to reduce as the most as possible the consuming, and to live without money, or just like the less it's possible. And most of people don't work here, we just like work for ourselves. And the thing is that we work a lot, but a lot. And we are involved in a lot of things inside the house, outside the house, and it's really worse than, you know, having a normal job. Canmasdeu is a social center, and every Sunday we have activities, and we make a kind of tour for people who want to discover the house, the activity we have. And so if you want, we can go and make the tour right now. So right now we are on the path to the house, and so this is a public place. We try to make a public place open to everybody who wants to take like a nice time in nature. So we have the board which present the projects, which present the activities we have.
It's basically very difficult for me to decide whether the things that happen in this project in relation to the public and the amount of public support that we have and the incredible amount of public involvement that we have, which I never had in any other, we strive for very hard in all the other social centres, but ultimately never really achieved the situation where when you would wake up in the morning would be 20 grannies sat in the garden with their grandchildren running around, you know. And it's very difficult for me to decide if this is a kind of like regional thing, if this is a cultural thing, that all the other social centres also have this kind of level of interaction, or whether it's something very specific about the situation of this project and the dynamic of this project. And I think that the old people, they're quite proud of us, basically, you know, that we like really, that some of the things that we try to do, some of the, you know, the gardening techniques, or the concept of producing as much of your own food as possible and as being as autonomous from the state as possible, I think that they remember it from when they were younger, and because of the political history of Spain, because of the dictatorship, and because still is like a kind of struggle for freedom here in Catalonia from Madrid, or from in the other regions of Spain. That it's constantly this kind of dynamic of autonomy, you know, of trying to devolve power all the time. So people are much more open to the concepts that we talk about than perhaps they would be in London or in Leeds or something in the north of England.
So we have a quite nice swimming pool. We have two, what we call balsas, which is like two tanks of water. This had been cleaned something like more than 1 year ago, and the other one has been cleaned this summer. So just like to get it empty, to clean everything, and to let it, you know, come up again. So this is, from this there is all the system of irrigation of the garden that all the people from the communitarian garden made by themselves. It was super cool.
It's like living here is very nice because we have our ethics. For example, water conservation has always been like a kind of ethic of mine, and an ethic of many of the people that live here. Is a finite resource. And by living here, we've kind of forced ourselves into a position where we have, like, as a daily concept to think about our resource use. For example, the water it comes from the mountain, from the water mine, from over there, and only so much water comes, you know. So we can only use so much water. In fact, we've got at the moment we've got two springs running. One that come directly to the house, and one that go over to the swimming pool, which is kind of like a public spring, and which is also very nice because it brings people into the gardens, and then we get to talk to them, and off we go, you know. But so we have at the back, we've got like a kind of 4 cubic meter drinking water tank, and that water have to go to the kitchen, have to come to the shower, it goes to the washing machine, and it goes to the bathroom where we brush our teeth, etc. And there's only so much water, so like everybody who lives in the house has to be constantly aware of how much water that they're using, especially in the summer when the flow is right down, you know. I think is also something that could be applicable to somewhere else, you know, that even if you would be connected to the mains, that you could like just build a tank and say like, okay, this is how much water we have, and this is how much water we're going to use, and therefore we have to develop grey water systems, therefore we have to find a way to get this water back to the gardens. And once you start to kind of live it, your mind opens up, and you really start to feel a lot more solidarity and a lot deeper kind of empathy for people in other parts of the world who have it as a kind of daily reality.
Pues yo soy Paqui García, vivo actualmente en Roqueta, lo cual no quiere decir que sea de Barcelona, soy de Cádiz. Y tengo aquí en Canmasdeu un huerto comunitario con 2 personas más. Bueno, antes de los huertos lo que me enteré de la movida que hubo aquí cuando vinieron a desalojar, cuando la gente se colgó y tal, ¿no? Entonces empezamos a venir, una amiga y yo, una del huerto y yo. Y empezamos a venir, nos encantó, y empezamos a venir, pero no teníamos huerto ni nada. O sea, nosotros veníamos 2 o 3 veces a la semana, veníamos dando paseo por la montaña, por ahí por el castillo de Torrebaró. Llegábamos aquí y entonces le ayudábamos a ellos a cultivar el huerto. Pues un día quitar hierba, otro día regar, y nos encantaba. Y entonces propusieron de repartir las tierras y que las personas que quisieran, pues que tuviesen un huertecito. Y entonces nosotras nos cedieron el trocito este para la Isabel, para la otra chica que veníamos y yo. Y luego se incorporó la Monse. Bueno, los huertos comunitarios de aquí de Canmasdeu funcionan por asamblea. Hay grupos de trabajo, dentro de la asamblea hay grupos de trabajo. Un grupo se encarga de las herramientas, otro grupo se encarga del invernadero para hacer el planté. Otro grupo se encarga del agua, otro grupo se encarga de cosas sociales y fiestas y tal. Parece que hay 4 grupos. Hay muchas parcelas, muchas. Ahora exactamente el número no lo sé, pero habrá unas 30 o así, ¿no, Juana?
30 o 40.
30 o 40 parcelitas hay.
Con 1 o 2 personas, ¿no?
La que realmente estamos compartiendo somos nosotras 3, arriba que hay 2 mujeres mayores y otro chico que hay aquí con otras chicas, y los demás son individuales. ¿Qué me aporta a nivel personal a mí esto?
Sí.
Pues me aporta muchísimo, muchísimo, muchísimo. O sea, yo vengo aquí y me transformo. Esto para mí es un sitio donde me da paz y me da tranquilidad y estoy en lo que me gusta. Y también el ambiente de la casa, o sea, todo va en conjunto. Y la gente de los huertos, claro. Aquí te relaciona con unos y con otros. Y la verdad, yo cuando vine aquí estaba en unos momentos muy malos y aquí yo me salí para adelante. Y eso me aporta.
Big work, I mean, like that on one of the main work of the project, to work on a local level, and for me, like to develop this kind of autonomous space, it's not only to have a very big network on an international level. It's important, but the most important is to work on a local level and to work with people and to provoke, to light up a reflection about how the society is functioning, and say, look, we can do something else. The thing is that Canmasdeu, which is the district we are, it's quite popular and quite, down part of the economic class. And so there are old people coming, very nice, and they are very happy that to have the possibility to work on the ground. But for people working on the garden, it's very cool, and there are a lot of very different people, like family, like punk, like women, like very different people, and that's cool. And when we go to the district, to the neighborhood, people can recognize us very easily. So, oh, you are from Canmasdeu, and there are all the children making jokes, just like follow. It's a bit less right now, but I remember some months ago, the children like running after us. Oh, you are the people from Canmasdeu, you are staying naked all the time and you don't shave under your arm, and there is the old man waiting for the summer that when we're gonna get naked, like very impatient.
Well, the house was empty 53 years, so we have to consider that when we arrived there was like hardly any glass, the roof was completely trashed, the house was full of rubble, there was no water, no light, no heat, lots of doors were missing, all the gardens were completely overgrown, there was no footpaths, no stairs, no infrastructure in the gardens or anything. So gradually we've been working to upgrade the house. The first priority was obviously to make like a portion of the house livable, because we squatted in winter. So we put first of all glass in one room, put a stove in one room, we were all sleeping together in another room. And gradually over the 2 years, I think we've rewired the house 3 times, because we're a squat, so of course we're quite unstable, we never know how long we're going to be here, so you never know like what quality of work to put in. And as we've stabilised more and more, we've always upgraded our work, so now the house is kind of quite safely wired, whereas at the beginning it was very squatty. And we've basically rebuilt the inside of the house twice now as well. Because the first time was kind of emergency building to get it up and running. The second time was to get the social project up and running, which we had to do in a hurry because we needed the project to be public, because we were going to court for the eviction, which was quite successful.
So we have 2 offices in the house. One is here downstairs, and it's like to be close to all the public place, so we don't expect so much quietness. And there is a sewing workshop as well in the same room, But we have another office much more quiet upstairs for people who really want to study. As we are living with 30 people more or less, we need a very strong structure to be like focused on it. And because we are more or less young and not everybody's got a very big sense of responsibilities. So we meet once a week, more or less, with all the group to talk about the internal or external functionings. We have all the very simple lists to say, to know who's gonna cook, who's gonna take care of the wood, who's gonna take care of the toilets, who's gonna take care of the garbage, of the compost every week, so we change. And to make group of interest, like for the group of the garden, the group of the environmental education, the group of resistance, the media group, or we're working with small groups like this. And we are in the process to make better the meeting, to make effort to listen to each other, to let each other to talk and not to cut words all over people all the time. And it's a process. All the time there was a very big disbalance between the number of men and women, and I remember times we were 5 women in the house. And the point is that all of us are coming from the city, and we are bringing all what the society teaches us about all the gender problems that you said, is that all the problems which are there are here as well. And it's not because we are outside and we are kind of alternative or that we are different, and we have to recognize it. And on my point of view, gender problems are very unconscious and maybe much more present in women's minds than in men's minds. And I don't want to put it like a question of guiltiness. I'm not interested in it. And what is difficult here for women sometimes is that you have to be very strong to live here, because you have to be able to do everything, and you have to fight when you want to be listened, when you want to do something like it's normally for men, you know, like use tools or soldering or, I don't know, make things like this. Use very big electric tools, or, you know. And sometimes when you want to give your opinion, like you have to fight to give your opinion and just like to be listened, to be looked at. Welcome to the peak, which is the point of interaction with Collserola. Collserola, it's all the chain of hills which is behind Canmasdeu. And that the materialized place, or the place which is representing the social center. So we have a free shop, so people come and let staff and other people come to take it. We have all the staff to disguise ourselves when we go to actions or when we make party. We have what we call the caja talleres, which is like box to make your own workshop. And so there is how to make soap from recycled oil from the kitchen, or how to make your own shoes, how to make your own toothpaste. In Canmasdeu there is all the project of environmental education for children, and so regularly some children come from school or from, you know, like activity center, and they discover a bit like how we think the nature here, like the nature is functioning by cycle, and to to make them understand that we consume a lot and we throw away a lot. So just like think about what's going on, the thing that you're throwing away. So there is a very basic activity they do. It's just like they bring one pack of garbage from their home or something, and they just like gonna look at it and try to see what you can recycle, what you can use once more. About the legal situation, we have a kind of, as I told you, mediatic dimension here. And so with the frustrating eviction which happened 1.5 years ago or more, there was a lot of stuff in the media, and so we had kind of nice point of view, and the City Hall and the Hospital São Paulo, I think, are quite afraid about all the noise we are able to do. And last time we had the court in November, we were ready to make a lot of noise, and you know, like, and they just stopped the process of the court and say, we're gonna do something else. And now, right now, we have more or less 2 years with the appeal we can still do, and before thinking to be evicted. The frustrating eviction, as we call it, it was in May 2002, and so the authority made a tricky stuff without telling us really properly that we could be evicted during 2 weeks without any notification. And so we prepared a lot of barricades and the position for people to hang on from the house to resist. The police came one day and just like people like started hanging on, and they stayed there for 3 days. And the police was very hard, you know, putting very strong lights in the face of people, a lot of sound during the night to impede them to sleep. And at the end, the police made very horrible stuff in the house, because they were really here with people hanging on and a lot of people demonstrating, like something like maybe it's a lot, but 400 people at one point. Even the old people from the neighborhood coming, the old women coming with a bottle of water, asking to give water to the people hanging on. And the police came here, they killed chicken, they just like cut a lot of climbing stuff. They shit in the beds, they pissed everywhere. They didn't broke so much stuff, but they broke a lot of bikes, and they stole material for sure. It could have been really worse. But at the end they had to leave because people were supposed to be in danger, like people hanging on to be in danger of dehydration, of lack of food or this kind of stuff. And it was a big victory.
I think like some of the kind of like main aspects that are applicable to kind of any country, especially any westernized country, any kind of like mega industrial place, is the kind of the angle that we take on environmentalism, and the links that we try to build between that and the other social conflicts that exist in society, you know, and how we try to link environmental struggle to economic struggle and to struggle against kind of capitalist system. For example, I think that any project that talks about issues of food production is applicable, is transferable to any environment, you know. And any project like this where we invite people to use the land. I mean, there's lots of people busy working in the centre, and I have like lots and lots of respect for them, and I did it myself for many years, and this is a very useful and very valid fight, you know, the fight against gentrification and bringing kind of environmental and political concepts into the city. But at the same time, what's quite good here is that we took it a little bit out of the city, but neither would we take it so far back to the land that people could never come and visit. So we act as a kind of, in another way, we act as a bridge between the city and the countryside, and between much more rural projects that really go for things that we symbolically create. But the symbolism is enough to create the bridge to the people that are really doing it, you know, and to open the minds of the people that pass by to other possibilities and other ways of life, you know. And of course, and that's also very transferable, you know, to try to build the bridges between the rural and the urban all the time.
Hablando de nuestros sentimientos, como un tomate pasado a chapar. Fue lo que fue, y a mí me da lo mismo. Que digan si te quiero.
Yeah, to set up a social center, I don't know what kind of advice I could give, except maybe to have a good group, to be sure that people are really involved, to have good interaction with the local neighborhood.
One of the key successes is that we opened the land and we opened the project to anybody that wanted to come, and especially the gardens. We say anyone can have a garden. People live in flats, you know, they don't have access to gardens, you know, and it's not a green city at all. So immediately we had like a very interesting and diverse collection of people who had their own interest, and then through the process of collectivised work and because we had lots of court cases and because they keep trying to throw us off the land, like the people learned to struggle or brought other experiences of struggle that they had, and they collectivised them. And I think this kind of like approach is applicable in any country, you know.
Ay, que tú me diste a mí.